I dare you to comment your favorite NXT superstar of all time. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today I only draft NXT Alumni to my WWE 2K20 universe mode. Now, the rules of this draft are simple. I can only draft superstars of this brand that have competed on NXT before or are currently competing in NXT right now. But before we get to the #1 draft pick, if you are new to the channel, go hit the subscribe button today because one, it is absolutely free, and two, you can unsubscribe at any point in the future. And can we hit 500 likes on this video? I think we can. Starting us off is going to be our #1 draft pick. He is going to be our starting NXT champion. He was the first ever NXT champion, Seth Rollins. The first female pick in this draft is going to be Alexa Bliss because she is going to be our starting NXT women's champion. Let me go ahead and grab Andrade up next. I feel like Andrade, with the roster I have in mind right now with this draft, is going to do really well. I think it'll be really fun to grab all of the 4 horsewomen, but all of their NXT versions. So as you just saw, I grabbed Becky Lynch 15. Now I'm grabbing Bayley 15. I'll grab Charlotte 14 because that was when she won the NXT Women's Championship, I believe. And I'll grab Sasha Banks 15. Give me someone currently competing in NXT right now. Give me Tommaso Ciampa. I feel like Keith Lee should not have left NXT as quickly as he did, just from a selfish reason. I mean, I'm sure he's more than happy to be on the main roster, but nevertheless, Keith Lee is being drafted right here and right now. Quite possibly the fastest debut to NXT champion of all time, Kevin Owens, come on down to the NXT brand. Just as I grabbed the 4 horsewomen, I'm going to grab the Undisputed Era. That means I'm grabbing Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Give me Pretty Ricky. Give me Ricochet as well. I feel like Ruby Riott would do really well with this brand that I'm building, so I'm taking Ruby Riott. If you grab Kevin Owens, you can't not grab Sami Zayn, so Sami Zayn's coming on down to the NXT brand. It's Tony time. Tony Storm coming to the brand. I didn't think about Zack Ryder at all until I passed over his name just now, but I feel like Zack Ryder on this brand would do pretty well as well. And since I'm right here, go ahead and give me Zelina Vega and Xavier Woods too. And while I'm at it, give me a former NXT champion. Give me Big E Langston. This is her brutality, and NXT's women division just got a little bit more stacked. Rhea Ripley coming to NXT. You didn't think I was gonna forget about the Iconics, did you? I'm grabbing Peyton Royce, and I'm grabbing Billy Kay. He's the man with the plan, and he's the man with the contract. Brian Kendrick is coming to NXT. Buddy Murphy, too. I haven't been able to draft him as of late, but Buddy Murphy is gladly going to be on this brand. I'm going to go ahead and also snatch Candice LeRae and Carmella right here. And while we're at it, give me Chad Gable since we're right here. And while we're at it, give me Cesaro. I'm taking all the C's. Say what you will, but Curtis Axel being on NXT, I feel like could be a resurgence of the Axeman. I know y'all are going to be hating me in the comments section. Tell me about the loopholes, because I will tell you about a loophole, because Daniel Bryan is coming to this NXT brand. Now, I know. He was not in the developmental NXT. However, he was in NXT Season 1. Am I counting that? Of course I'm counting it. Daniel Bryan's coming to this brand. Finn Balor is coming to NXT. I want the Pirate Princess on NXT too. I'm taking Kairi Sane. And give me Io Shirai. And give me Asuka. This women's division is stacked, let me tell you. Just as I drafted Curtis Axel, I feel bad that Bo Dallas really isn't doing anything that much anymore, so I'm grabbing Bo Dallas. I'll also take the Wyatt family. Give me Bray Wyatt, give me Rowan, and give me Luke Harper. Big RIP, man, to Luke Harper. That is just tragic, man. I really am shook up still about the passing of Luke Harper. Luke Harper, for those of you that did not know, was absolutely my #1 favorite big man in all of pro wrestling. I think Kalisto would do really well back in NXT, and I'm also going to draft right here on the spot now that I'm thinking about it too. Let me get Sin Cara, because I think this Sin Cara model, 1, looks really cool, and 2, Sin Cara and Kalisto back in NXT would be really dope to me. I'm also going to grab Shinsuke Nakamura since we're right here. Tyler Breeze is gorgeous in NXT, and Tyler Breeze is coming on down to NXT. I know he's currently there, but I always forget that, so he's back. Say yeah, the Revival are coming to NXT again. And I feel like it would be a big L if I didn't take Drew McIntyre. Y'all know I gotta be biased and pick Dakota Kai. It's kind of an obvious statement here. And in the interest of bias, I'm also taking Cassius Ohno. Give me the HBIC. Give me Mia Yim. And just as I gave gave the loophole for Daniel Bryan. I'm giving the loophole for Naomi. I'm taking Naomi. Nikki wants to play with Nikki Cross. Come and play NXT. I'll also take Paige while I'm at it. Pete Dunne has to be on this roster. I don't care who you are. Rusev Machika, Rusev Crush. Wait, was that his entrance theme? Comment down below. What was Rusev's entrance? I forgot already. I only know Handsome Miro now. Joey Head Rocker gotta come to the NXT brand. I don't care who you are. Samoa Joe is dope, and he is coming. Not with that first NXT theme that he had, though. He's definitely coming with the current one he's got. I think Bianca Belair is gonna be the perfect addition to this women's roster to round out the roster. This is my last female pick for NXT. My last male pick for NXT, I'm not gonna take the Street Profits. No offense, Angelo Dawkins, but I'm going to take Montez Ford as a solo star, and I'm also going to take Matt Riddle. Now, as you see, as the draft is over, Seth Rollins is our NXT champion starting off, and Alexa Bliss is our NXT women's champion starting off. We also have an NXT male championship Money in the Bank briefcase and an NXT women's championship Money in the briefcase. So with our rosters set, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NXT Rival. This is our May pay-per-view. It is Money in the Bank, essentially. We have the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line in this opening contest. I'm about to simulate after I read off who's in this match, but we got Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Matt Riddle, Rowan, Tommaso Ciampa, and Cesaro all vying to become NXT Money in the Bank. And the winner is Rowan. I don't think anybody expected that. Nevertheless, moving on though, Sami Zayn defeats Keith Lee, and that would be an absolute top to bottom banger. Oh my goodness. Dakota Kai loses to Mia Yim. You don't like to see that. Now, you don't like that at all. But Carmella defeats Ruby Riott. Up next, we have Bianca Belair defeating Zelina Vega in singles competition. Candice LeRae loses to Io Shirai. After that, Alexa Bliss defeats Kairi Sane, retaining her NXT Women's Championship. Pete Dunne defeats Buddy Murphy. And after this, we have Naomi losing to Paige. Then Samoa Joe defeats Andrade in what I am sure was also a banger. We have Daniel Bryan winning the NXT Championship from Seth Rollins here tonight. Rollins did not hold that title for long. And then Kevin Owens is your Mr. Money in the Bank. Cassius Ohno and Montez Ford had a shot at that briefcase. If either one of them would have won, I would have geeked. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I just realized something. I kind of goofed. I'm not going to lie. I did not set this to be championship targeted towards the NXT Women's Championship when I set this up. I feel like a goof. I'm not gonna cap. So Eric Rowan and Kevin Owens both have Money in the Bank briefcases for Daniel Bryan's NXT Championship. That's the first time this has ever happened. I just realized how bad I goofed. I do apologize, but nevertheless, that's interesting. Welcome to the month of June, ladies and gents. It is NXT TakeOver Blackpool, and we open things up with Kevin Owens defeating Pete Dunne here tonight. We move on to Alexa Bliss defeating Io Shirai in singles competition for that NXT Women's Championship. So Alexa Bliss is still your NXT Women's Champion. Roderick Strong defeats Fiend Balor up next. And then we have Matt Riddle defeating Bray Wyatt here tonight. Drew McIntyre defeats Cesaro. Shinsuke Nakamura then defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Seth Rollins loses the NXT Championship rematch to Daniel Bryan. And I just remembered, Rowan won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Rowan is still set to manage Daniel Bryan in this universe mode. That's awkward. But the main event is Andrade losing, or no, he won. He beat Samoa Joe in the main event of the evening. As we enter NXT, the Great American Bash here in the month of July, we open up with Xavier Woods and Big E losing to Dash and Scott Dawson. We have Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. They're not Dash and Scott Dawson. My apologies for that. The Revival, though, defeat the New Day. Nevertheless, Pete Dunne defeats Matt Riddle in a split up of the Broserweights. We then have Buddy Murphy defeating Chad Gable in singles competition. I'm sure somewhere Murph's bat signal just went off, and shout out to Murph's YT13. Nevertheless, Candice LeRae loses to Io Shirai. We have Cesaro losing to Ricochet, and that had to have been a banger, let me tell you. Bray Wyatt defeats Sami Zayn here tonight. We then have Drew McIntyre defeating Roderick Strong and Finn Balor in a triple threat match. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Kevin Owens loses to Seth Rollins. And then Andrade defeats Samoa Joe. It's the month of August now, and we're at Brooklyn Takeover, where Xavier Woods and Big E defeat the New Day, the Revival, in tag team action. I can't read today, apparently. Nevertheless, though, Naomi does defeat Paige in our next match. We then have Candice LeRae losing to Io Shirai, and y'all already know they have absolute barn burners every time they face each other, so I'm sure that was short of nothing but amazing. Pete Dunne then defeats Matt Riddle in the rematch. We have Roderick Strong defeating Andrade. Sami Zayn defeats Bray Wyatt in singles competition. Ricochet defeats Finn Balor and Buddy Murphy in a triple threat match. Drew McIntyre defeats Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins defeats Samoa Joe. And then Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Tommaso Ciampa in our main event. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NXT TakeOver Philly. This is happening in the month of September. We open up with Finn Balor defeating Bray Wyatt. Montez Ford then defeats Keith Lee in singles competition. Andrade defeats Roderick Strong. We have Ricochet defeating Buddy Murphy. Cesaro defeats Matt Riddle. Pete Dunne defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Kevin Owens defeats Sami Zayn, because you already know these two can't keep apart from one another. Seth Rollins defeats Drew McIntyre. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Samoa Joe. Asuka and Kairi Sane defeat Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. And then Rowan cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, losing an NXT Championship match against Daniel Bryan. And as y'all already know, I always have to explain it though, even though it says customized match, I didn't cash in. Anytime the AI cashes in randomly, it always shows customized match. I'm sorry, I don't control what the game puts up on text, but I promise you, Scout's honor, I didn't do it. We open up October's pay-per-view Halloween Havoc with Big E and Xavier Woods losing to Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Pete Dunne does defeat Andrade. However, we move forward to Keith Lee defeating Buddy Murphy in singles competition. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Montez Ford. Up next, we then have Roderick Strong defeating Samoa Joe. Cesaro defeats Matt Riddle. We have Finn Balor defeating Sami Zayn. Drew McIntyre defeats Kevin Owens. Shinsuke Nakamura loses to Seth Rollins. And then in the main event of the evening, Asuka and Kairi Sane lose to Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. It is time for War Games, as William Regal would say, and welcome to the November TakeOver. We have Big E and Xavier Woods losing again to Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Up next, Keith Lee defeats Ricochet. And if you guys have never seen the Evolve match between these two, go out of your way, please, to go watch that match. That match was an absolute banger. Buddy Murphy defeats Rusev up next, and I'm sure that match would also be a banger. Sami Zayn defeats Montez Ford, and oh my goodness, this War Games card has been nutty so far. This has been really, really dope. We then have a big fatal four-way that Finn Balor wins against Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, and Bray Wyatt. After that, Cesaro defeats Matt Riddle. We have Samoa Joe defeating Roderick Strong. Asuka and Kairi Sane lose to Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Seth Rollins. And in the main event of the evening, Kevin Owens defeats Drew McIntyre. Welcome to the December TakeOver, NXT TakeOver Chicago. We open things up with Cesaro losing to Samoa Joe here tonight. We then have Bray Wyatt defeating Buddy Murphy up next. Candice LeRae defeats the head boss in charge. I mean, I know that's not what that stands for, but that's what I gotta say on YouTube. Mia Yim loses to Candice LeRae. Montez Ford loses to Keith Lee. We then have Tommaso Ciampa defeating Ricochet and Pete Dunne in a triple threat match. Paige defeats Naomi. We then have Finn Balor losing to Sami Zayn. Seth Rollins loses to Shinsuke Nakamura. Drew McIntyre loses to Tyler Breeze. And in the main event of the evening, Kevin Owens cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, which Daniel Bryan defeats Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan is a tank in this NXT Universe mode. We head into the month of January now with NXT TakeOver Phoenix, and if I design this correctly, we will see two Royal Rumble matches for the women and for the men. I tried to make this more fun, if you will, where I added the Money in the Bank briefcase and I also added the Royal Rumble match to the NXT Universe. Nevertheless, we open up with Drew McIntyre defeating Tyler Breeze here tonight. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Pete Dunne. After that, we have a women's Royal Rumble match, a 10-woman Royal Rumble match. After that, Ricochet does defeat Cesaro. We have Asuka defeating Alexa Bliss for the NXT Women's Championship. Kevin Owens defeats Roderick Strong. Samoa Joe defeats Sami Zayn. Montez Ford just won the NXT Championship. Oh my goodness. Montez Ford defeats Daniel Bryan for the NXT Championship. And let me tell you, you ask me why, Dalton, why did you draft Montez and not the Street Profits together? Well, let me tell you, because I think Montez Ford as a solo star could be to the moon. I think he could be a WWE or World Heavyweight Champion one day, and not nothing to discredit Montez or Angelo Dawkins, excuse me, because I think Angelo also could very well do good for himself as a solo competitor. I don't want to see the Street Profits break up though, don't get me wrong, but I do think they both would do really well as solo competitors, and this kind of shows it. Montez Ford, congratulations. Nevertheless, Seth Rollins does defeat Shinsuke Nakamura after that, and then we have the men's Royal Rumble match. Now, who won these Royal Rumbles? And it's Andrade who wins the NXT Male Royal Rumble. We have Montez Ford defeating Daniel Bryan for the NXT Championship. That is absolutely insane. Asuka won the NXT Women's Championship. We have the winner of the Women's NXT Rumble, Ruby Riott. As we enter the month of February, it's time for NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Rusev loses to Drew McIntyre here tonight. We got Tommaso Ciampa defeating Pete Dunne up next. Buddy Murphy defeats Sami Zayn right after that. And let me tell you, I don't even need to tell you. Actually, you already know. This match, banger material. After that, Bray Wyatt defeats Roderick Strong. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats the winner of the NXT Male Royal Rumble, Andrade. We have Keith Lee defeating Finn Balor after that. Cesaro defeats Ricochet. We then have Montez Ford retaining his NXT Championship against Seth Rollins, Rowan Dash Wilder, Daniel Bryan, and Scott Dawson. We then have Kevin Owens losing to Samoa Joe. And in the main event, we have Asuka retaining her Women's Championship against Io Shirai, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, Toni Storm, and Paige in an Elimination Chamber match. The month of March is going to be NXT TakeOver New York. Now, the reason why I moved NXT TakeOver New York, you will soon find out, because I think it's kind of funny to me. But nevertheless, we open things up with Sami Zayn defeating Ricochet. We have Rusev defeating Finn Balor. In our next match, we have Keith Lee defeating Buddy Murphy. Rowan and Daniel Bryan defeat Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. And look, I don't care who you are. That match is going to slap 12 times out of 10. We then have Pete Dunne defeating Shinsuke Nakamura and Roderick Strong. Another match that would slap. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Samoa Joe. Look, all of these matches on this card are slapping. Oh, Alexa Bliss wins back the NXT Women's Championship from Asuka. We then have Drew McIntyre defeating Seth Rollins. Cesaro defeats Bray Wyatt. And in the main event of the evening, Montez Ford retains his NXT Championship, but Kevin Owens cashed in his briefcase again? What? Wait a minute. Whoa. He cashed in against Daniel Bryan a couple months ago. Did he get 2 briefcases or something? Or did they do what they did with The Miz this year with Kevin Owens in the... All right, never mind. Move forward. It is our last pay-per-view in the month of April. NXT TakeOver The End, because obviously this is the end of the simulation. Xavier Woods opens up defeating Adam Cole, baby, in singles competition. We have a big ol' 8-man battle royal with Bray Wyatt picking up the win, featuring Samoa Joe, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Rusev, Roderick Strong, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bray Wyatt, and Finn Balor. After this, Carmella does defeat Zelina Vega. We have Candice LeRae defeating Bianca Belair. Toni Storm loses a battle royal to Shayna Baszler that also featured Io Shirai, Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Rhea Ripley, and Mia Yim. Pete Dunne defeats Harper in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And look, I do not care who you are. I say it all the time when I know there's a banger alert. This match would have banged. This match would have been amazing. Pete Dunne and Harper would have tore it down. Nevertheless, Paige does defeat Naomi. After that match, we have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly defeating Rowan and Daniel Bryan. After this, Alexa Bliss retains her NXT Women's Championship against Ruby Riott. So Alexa Bliss defeats the NXT Rumble winner, Ruby Riott. Alexa Bliss will be ending this simulation as your NXT Women's Champion. After that, though, Ricochet does defeat Sami Zayn. We then have Kevin Owens defeating Cesaro. Seth Rollins defeats Drew McIntyre. And in the main event of the evening, Andrade wins the NXT Championship from Montez Ford. And as we come to a close now, Andrade is our current NXT champion, as he did defeat Montez Ford, who had to defeat Daniel Bryan, who defeated Seth Rollins. Just to see real quick if there's anything crazy in the days held, I think Montez got a record. He's up there now for 70 days as your NXT champ. Taking a look at the NXT Women's Championship, now we end things up with Alexa Bliss being our NXT Women's Champion. She's now a two-time NXT Women's Champion, and days held, she actually got up to a combined days held of 282 days. Alexa Bliss doing the dang thing, let me tell you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is what happens when I only draft NXT alumni and current NXT superstars to my WWE 2K20 universe mode. If you guys did enjoy this video, leave a like, and as always and forever, take it easy though, guys. Peace.